A quiet figure stands apart under the dazzling skyline of Silverstone City, where ambition echoes through towering skyscrapers and the pulse of innovation beats strong. Evelyn Hartfield, the legendary CEO of Hartfield Technologies, is a woman whose name commands respect in the corporate world. At 52, her flawless reputation as a tech visionary is matched only by her meticulous lifestyle. Yet behind the serene confidence of her composed smile lies a shadow that no success could ever erase: the haunting memory of her only son, Matthew, who vanished 2 decades ago without a trace. From her sleek corner office, perched high above the bustling metropolis, Evelyn often gazes at the city that has witnessed and benefited from her relentless drive. To the world, she is an indomitable leader. But to those who look closer, there's an air of solitude that even the most triumphant achievements fail to conceal. Why does a woman so accomplished still seem bound by the past? What secrets lie beneath the polished veneer of her carefully curated life? The answer begins with an unassuming young man named Samuel Everett, who steps into her office one fateful afternoon. What starts as an ordinary interview for a position as her assistant takes a chilling turn when a single object, a worn wristwatch, spirals Evelyn's world into questions she never dared to ask. Could this stranger hold the key to her deepest pain? And if so, what truths will come to light in her quest for answers? This story concerns power, ambition, and a journey into love, loss, and redemption. As Evelyn delves into a mystery that could rewrite everything she thought she knew, her path crosses with those who carry secrets of their own, weaving a tale of betrayal, resilience, and second chances. If you're ready for a gripping exploration of human connection and the lengths one will go to uncover the truth, subscribe to our channel for stories that inspire and captivate. Follow us as we unravel this powerful narrative, one discovery at a time. Stay tuned because the next chapter is just the beginning. The day Samuel Everett walked into Evelyn Hartfield's office began like any other. A meticulously scheduled morning, a board meeting, and a stack of proposals demanding her attention. Evelyn, ever the perfectionist, thrived on structure, and today was no different. She was conducting interviews to fill a critical role. Her assistant, someone who could anticipate her needs almost instinctively. Evelyn was known to demand excellence from those around her, but her expectations for this role bordered on the impossible. Candidate after candidate entered and exited the conference room on the top floor of Hartfield Tower, each presenting polished resumes and rehearsed smiles. Yet, Evelyn remained unimpressed. She found their answers lackluster, their energy uninspiring. To work beside her, mediocrity was simply not an option. Then came Samuel Everett. At first glance, there was little to set him apart. Of average height, his brown hair neatly combed, and his demeanor was calm but unpretentious, Samuel seemed ordinary. Yet, as he entered the room, there was a quiet confidence about him, a presence that demanded attention without trying. He approached Evelyn with measured steps, extending a hand with a simple but warm greeting. "Good afternoon, Ms. Hartfield. It's an honor to meet you." Evelyn glanced up from her tablet, prepared to dive into yet another interview. But as her eyes fell on his wrist, a sudden jolt of recognition froze her mid-motion. A vintage wristwatch, its leather strap worn but intact, adorned Samuel's arm. It wasn't just any watch, identical to the one she had gifted Matthew on his 16th birthday, 2 years before he vanished. Her breath caught momentarily, but years of emotional discipline allowed her to recover quickly. "Please, have a seat," she said, her voice calm, though her thoughts were anything but. Could this be a coincidence? Was it even possible? Her mind swirled with questions she couldn't voice. Samuel, unaware of her internal turmoil, began to speak. "I come from a background in technology and operations," he said, his tone steady yet humble. "I've specialized in project optimization, particularly integrating emerging technologies to streamline workflows. I believe my skills could complement your leadership style." Evelyn nodded politely, her professional mask firmly in place. But her focus drifted back to the watch. She couldn't help but interrupt. "Samuel," she said, her tone sharper than intended. "That watch you're wearing, it's unique. May I ask where you got it?" Caught off guard, Samuel hesitated before glancing down at his wrist. "This? It's a gift from my adoptive father," he said, his voice softening with affection. He told me it was something special he found at an auction years ago. I've always cherished it. Evelyn's heart raced. The coincidence was too significant to ignore. She forced a smile, though her mind was already spinning with plans. It's a beautiful piece, she replied, masking her genuine emotions. Now, let's continue discussing your experience. The rest of the interview proceeded smoothly, with Samuel demonstrating a sharp intellect and a genuine eagerness to contribute. But for Evelyn, the decision had already been made. She would hire him for his qualifications and to uncover the truth behind that watch. As Samuel exited the room, Evelyn reached for her phone and dialed a number she hadn't used in years. When a familiar raspy voice answered, she didn't waste a moment. "Marcus," she said, her tone firm. "I need your help. There's something I need you to investigate. It's urgent." Samuel's first days at Hartfield Technologies were marked by diligence and quiet efficiency. He quickly gained the respect of Evelyn's team with his calm demeanor and sharp insights. While he navigated his new role, Evelyn kept a watchful eye on him. Every interaction, every comment he made, every subtle gesture became a piece of the puzzle she was trying to solve. Behind closed doors, Marcus, a retired private investigator and Evelyn's closest confidant, delved into the mystery. He began by researching the watch's origins, tracing it to a charity auction held overseas nearly 15 years ago. The auction records revealed that the piece had been purchased by a man whose name matched Samuel's adoptive father. The connection was tenuous but undeniable. Meanwhile, Samuel was beginning to notice Evelyn's unusual scrutiny. During a quiet afternoon in her office, she finally broached the subject. "Samuel," she began, her voice carefully measured, "I need to ask you something personal. Your adoptive father. What more can you tell me about him? About your past?" Samuel seemed taken aback, but composed himself quickly. "There's not much to tell, Miss Hartfield. My adoptive parents took me in when I was about 4 years old. They've always been kind and supportive, but there were always unanswered questions. They didn't know much about my biological family." Evelyn leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "Have you ever tried to find out more?" Samuel hesitated, then nodded. "I did once, a few years ago. I took a DNA test out of curiosity, but it didn't lead anywhere. I suppose I've come to terms with not knowing." Evelyn's heart ached at his words. She saw a reflection of her pain in his calm acceptance of the unknown. "Sometimes, the past has a way of finding us," she said softly, more to herself than to him. As days turned into weeks, the puzzle pieces began to align. Marcus's investigation revealed startling details. The watch was part of an exclusive collection that could not have been easily acquired. Moreover, the timeline of Samuel's adoption coincided almost perfectly with Matthew's disappearance. Evelyn's suspicions grew more muscular, as did her sense of caution. She knew she couldn't approach Samuel with her theories, not yet. She needed more proof. But in her quiet moments, she allowed herself to hope. Could this young man be the key to reuniting her with the son she had lost so long ago? Little did she know, the answers she sought would take work. Forces beyond her control were already moving, and the closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous the game would become. While Evelyn delved into the mystery of Samuel's past, a new storm brewed on the horizon. Vanessa Rhodes, a former colleague and now her fiercest competitor, closely watched Evelyn's every move. Known for her calculated charm and ruthless ambition, Vanessa had long resented Evelyn's success. To her, Hartfield Technologies was not just a competitor but a symbol of everything she had failed to achieve. Vanessa had recently suffered a significant setback, a failed product launch that cost her company millions and tarnished her reputation. Desperate to regain her footing, she searched for vulnerabilities in Evelyn's seemingly impenetrable armor. When whispers of Evelyn's growing closeness to her new assistant, Samuel, reached Vanessa, she saw an opportunity to strike. At a press conference disguised as a showcase for emerging technologies, Vanessa stood before an audience of reporters, her lips curling into a confident smile. "In this industry, trust and ethics are everything," she said, her voice laced with feigned sincerity. "But sometimes, even the most respected leaders let personal relationships cloud their judgment." The reporters, sensing a story, leaned in. Are you referring to anyone specific? One asked. Vanessa let the question linger, her smile widening. Let's just say that certain dynamics within Hartfield Technologies have raised eyebrows. A young assistant, a powerful CEO. You can draw your conclusions. The insinuations spread like wildfire. Social media platforms buzzed with speculation, and tabloids plastered headlines questioning Evelyn's professionalism and integrity. Evelyn, who had meticulously maintained her reputation over decades, was thrust into a scandal she hadn't anticipated. Evelyn first learned of the rumors through an alert on her phone. Sitting in her office, she stared at the flashing headlines, a mixture of anger and disbelief coursing through her. Her jaw tightened as she reached for her phone. Samuel, she said calmly, though her voice carried an undercurrent of steel. Please come to my office. When Samuel arrived, his expression was a mix of confusion and concern. Evelyn wasted no time, holding up her tablet to show him the damning headlines. It seems we've become the subject of malicious gossip, she said, her tone sharp but controlled. Vanessa is insinuating an inappropriate relationship between us. Samuel's face fell, a flush of embarrassment rising to his cheeks. Miss Hartfield, I'm so sorry. I never meant. Evelyn raised a hand to silence him. This is not your fault, she said firmly. Vanessa has been waiting for an opportunity to discredit me, and unfortunately, she's chosen you as her weapon. Samuel straightened his posture, his voice steady despite the tension. What can I do to help? Evelyn admired his composure, but knew the situation demanded a careful response. We must limit our public interactions and ensure that everything we do remains strictly professional. I've already contacted my PR team to address the rumors. Behind the scenes, Evelyn began working with her trusted team to devise a counter-strategy. Her public relations manager recommended a carefully worded statement emphasizing the integrity of Hartfield Technologies and dismissing the allegations as baseless. However, Evelyn knew that words alone wouldn't be enough. Vanessa needed to be confronted directly. Later that evening, Evelyn attended a high-profile networking event where she knew Vanessa would be present. As she entered the grand ballroom, all eyes turned to her. Dressed in an elegant yet understated black gown, she exuded a quiet confidence that silenced whispers before they could begin. Spotting Vanessa across the room, Evelyn made her way to her, her steps deliberate. Vanessa, Evelyn said, her voice calm but firm. Vanessa turned, her smile faltering slightly under Evelyn's piercing gaze. I've come to warn you. Whatever game you're playing, it ends now. Vanessa feigned innocence, her smile returning. Oh, Evelyn, whatever do you mean? You know exactly what I mean, Evelyn replied. You've built your career on manipulation and deceit, but you've gone too far this time. If you think I'll let you tarnish my reputation without consequences, you've underestimated me. Vanessa's eyes narrowed, but she maintained her facade of politeness. I don't know what you're accusing me of, Evelyn, but I assure you my hands are clean. Evelyn leaned in slightly, her voice dropping to a whisper. I suggest you keep them that way, because if you don't, I'll ensure everyone sees the dirt you're trying to throw. As Evelyn walked away, Vanessa's confident exterior cracked. She had underestimated Evelyn's resolve and felt the weight of her recklessness for the first time. As Evelyn battled the public scandal, Marcus made a significant breakthrough in his investigation. Late one evening, he called Evelyn with urgency in his voice. Evelyn, I found something, he said. The watch, a paper trail leading back to an adoption agency in another state. It seems the watch was sold by someone connected to the agency around the same time Samuel was adopted. Evelyn felt a mix of anticipation and dread. What does this mean, Marcus? It means we're closer to the truth than ever, Marcus replied. But it also means we need to tread carefully. If there's a connection between Samuel and Matthew, there's likely more to this story than we've uncovered. The days ahead were a whirlwind for Evelyn. While defending her reputation against Vanessa's attacks, she also grappled with the possibility that Samuel might be the son she had lost. The dual pressures tested her resolve, but she remained steadfast, driven by a singular goal, uncovering the truth. Little did she know, the answers she sought were closer than she imagined. and the revelations would not only change her life, but also expose a web of deceit that had spanned decades. Evelyn's anticipation grew as Marcus continued unraveling the clues surrounding Samuel's past. The adoption records he unearthed pointed to a small agency in a neighboring state that had ceased operations years ago. While many records were incomplete, a few critical details stood out. Most importantly, the agency had taken in a child matching Matthew's description shortly after his disappearance. The boy had no identifying documents, and the agency listed him as an unknown. That boy was adopted by a family whose surname matched Samuel's. With this information, Evelyn decided it was time to confront Samuel directly. She called him into her office, the vast windows framing the city skyline as the sun dipped low, casting an amber glow across the room. Samuel entered, his usual calm demeanor tinged with curiosity. "Samuel," Evelyn began, her voice measured but carrying a weight that made him sit up straighter. "There's something we need to discuss, something that goes beyond your role here." Samuel frowned slightly, the corners of his mouth tightening. "Of course, Ms. Hartfield. What's on your mind?" Evelyn took a deep breath. "It's about your adoption. I've been investigating and believe there's a connection between your past and my family." Samuel's eyes widened, confusion flickering into unease. "I'm not sure I understand." Evelyn rose from her chair, walking to a side table where a framed photograph sat. She picked it up and handed it to him. It was an image of a young boy with tousled brown hair and a bright, mischievous smile. "This is my son, Matthew. He disappeared 20 years ago. And until recently, I thought I'd never find him." Samuel stared at the photograph, his hands trembling slightly. "Ms. Hartfield, I don't know what to say." "Look at the watch on his wrist," Evelyn said softly. "It's the same one you wear." Samuel glanced down at his wrist instinctively, his expression conflicted. "This watch was a gift from my adoptive father," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "He said it came from an auction, but I never questioned where it originated." Evelyn's voice softened, her professional veneer slipping to reveal the raw emotion beneath. "Samuel, I need to know if you're my son." The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily between them. Samuel looked at her, his emotions surfacing, confusion, fear, and a flicker of hope. "I've always wondered about my past," he admitted, "but I never imagined something like this." Evelyn placed a hand on his arm, steadying both him and herself. "Would you be willing to take a DNA test?" she asked, her voice trembling with hope and trepidation. Samuel hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Yes, if it'll give us answers." As Evelyn and Samuel waited for the results, life at Hartfield Technologies moved forward, though the tension was palpable. Still intent on causing trouble, Vanessa seized the opportunity to spread rumors about Evelyn's personal life. Her insinuations reached the press, painting Evelyn as a woman consumed by past grief and unable to separate her emotions from her professional duties. One particularly vicious article landed on Evelyn's desk during a morning meeting. The headline read, "CEO's Quest for Missing Son. A PR stunt or a desperate obsession?" She clenched her fists as she read, her jaw tightening. It wasn't just an attack on her, but an attempt to undermine her credibility. Marcus, who had been monitoring Vanessa's activities, brought troubling news. "Vanessa has been digging into your past, Evelyn," he warned. "She's looking for anything she can use to discredit you further. But I have a feeling she's not just interested in your reputation. She may have a personal stake in this." Evelyn's mind raced. What could Vanessa possibly gain from this vendetta? She thought back to the gala, to Vanessa's drunken confession about the watch being part of an auction. Could Vanessa have played a role in Matthew's disappearance? Meanwhile, the results of the DNA test arrived. Evelyn received the email notification late one evening, her hands trembling as she opened it. The report confirmed what she had both feared and hoped. Samuel was her biological son. She called him immediately. "Samuel," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "The results are in. You're my son." On the other end of the line, Samuel was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was filled with wonder. "I've spent my whole life not knowing where I came from," he said. "And now, to find out that you're my mother, I don't even know how to process this." We'll figure it out together, Evelyn assured him. But there's something else we need to address. I believe Vanessa had a hand in what happened to you. Determined to uncover the truth, Evelyn and Marcus worked tirelessly to piece Vanessa's involvement together. Marcus unearthed shocking evidence through a thorough investigation. Vanessa had been connected to a private investigator hired shortly after Matthew's disappearance. The investigator had arranged for Matthew to be placed in the adoption agency under pretenses. The motive? Vanessa had hoped to weaken Evelyn's resolve, knowing the loss of her son would be a devastating blow. Evelyn confronted Vanessa at a corporate summit, her voice steady but laced with fury. "You took my son," she said, her words cutting through the noise of the crowd like a blade. "You orchestrated everything to hurt me. And now, the whole world will know what kind of person you truly are." Vanessa's smirk faltered, but she tried to maintain her composure. "I don't know what you're talking about, Evelyn," she said, though her eyes betrayed her guilt. "You'll deny it, but the evidence says otherwise," Evelyn retorted. "And I'll make sure justice is served." With Vanessa's scheme exposed and her reputation ruined, Evelyn focused on rebuilding her relationship with Samuel. Together, they began to heal the wounds of the past. Samuel, no longer a man searching for his identity, found a renewed purpose working alongside his mother to launch initiatives aimed at helping families reunite. At Hartfield Technologies, Evelyn announced a new project, the Hartfield Family Initiative, a program dedicated to using technology to locate missing children and support families in crisis. "This is more than just a project," she said at the press conference. "It's a mission born from personal pain and fueled by hope." Samuel stood by her side, his presence a testament to the power of resilience and the enduring strength of family. As applause filled the room, Evelyn felt a profound sense of closure. The shadows of the past had finally given way to a brighter future. Evelyn Hartfield's world had shifted. The revelation that Samuel was indeed her long-lost son, Matthew, filled her with a joy she had thought lost forever. But the truth came with its complexities. Samuel, now Matthew in her heart, was navigating his internal conflict, reconciling the identity he had known with the truth of his origins. Evelyn invited Samuel to her estate for a quiet weekend to give them time to process. The sprawling property, surrounded by lush gardens and a private lake, had once been filled with laughter and warmth when Matthew was a child. Now, it stood as a poignant reminder of all they had lost. Walking through the garden one afternoon, Samuel spoke hesitantly. "I've always wondered what it would feel like to have roots, to know where I came from. But now that I do, it's overwhelming." Evelyn reached for his hand, her grip gentle but firm. "It's overwhelming for me too," she admitted. "But the important thing is that we found each other. We can take our time rebuilding. There's no rush." That evening, over dinner, Samuel asked a question that had lingered in his mind since the revelation. "Why did Vanessa hate you so much? What could make someone go to such lengths to hurt another person?" Evelyn sighed deeply, her expression thoughtful. "Vanessa was always ambitious, even when we were colleagues. She believed I had taken opportunities that should have been hers. It became an obsession for her, a need to tear me down to build herself up. I underestimated just how far she was willing to go." Samuel nodded, the weight of Vanessa's betrayal settling in. "Do you think she regrets it? Everything she did?" Evelyn paused, her eyes meeting his. "People like Vanessa rarely regret their actions. They regret getting caught." The Hartfield Family Initiative quickly became more than a project. It was a movement. The program aimed to revolutionize how cases of missing children were handled, using advanced AI technology and data analytics to improve search efficiency and coordination between law enforcement and families. Samuel threw himself into the work, using his project management and technology skills to lead the initiative alongside Evelyn. Their efforts soon bore fruit. Within months, the program facilitated the successful recovery of several missing children, each story capturing the public's attention. Families reunited under heartwarming circumstances became a testament to the power of technology and determination. One case involving a young girl found safely after months of missing made headlines. Her parents publicly thanked the Hartfield team, bringing Evelyn and Samuel to tears during the Foundation's press conference. "We started this initiative because we understand the pain of loss," Evelyn said, her voice steady but emotional. But today, we celebrate hope that every family can experience the joy of being whole again. Samuel stood beside her, addressing the crowd with newfound confidence. This isn't just about finding missing children, he said. It's about restoring faith in the idea that no one is truly lost as long as someone keeps searching. Meanwhile, Vanessa Rhodes faced the consequences of her actions. Her role in Matthew's disappearance and attempts to sabotage Evelyn had not gone unnoticed. Legal investigations uncovered a trail of deceit that included embezzlement, falsified records, and unethical corporate practices. Hartfield Technologies pressed charges, and the case quickly became a media spectacle. At the trial, Evelyn chose to testify. She recounted the years of anguish Vanessa's actions had caused her family, her voice unwavering. "This isn't just about justice for me or my son," she said. "It's about ensuring that no one else falls victim to such calculated cruelty." Once a figure of power and influence, Vanessa sat silently as the verdict was read. She was sentenced to several years in prison, her career and reputation shambling. The fall of Vanessa Rhodes became a cautionary tale in the corporate world, a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked ambition and malice. The aftermath of the trial brought Evelyn and Samuel even closer. With the shadow of Vanessa finally lifted, they were free to focus on the future. Evelyn, recognizing Samuel's talent and passion, formally appointed him as the co-lead of the Hartfield Family Initiative. Their shared mission strengthened their bond and renewed Samuel's sense of purpose. Evelyn also began to reflect on the legacy she wished to leave behind. Sitting in her office one evening, she shared her thoughts with Samuel. "I've spent so many years building this company," she said, "but the work we're doing now feels more meaningful than anything I've ever accomplished. When the time comes, I want you to take the reins, not just of Hartfield Technologies, but of the foundation." Samuel looked at her, his eyes filled with emotion. "I won't let you down," he promised. "I'll make sure everything you've built continues to grow." Evelyn smiled, pride evident in her expression. "I know you will." Samuel proposed expanding its reach as the Hartfield Family Initiative gained global recognition. "We need to think bigger," he told Evelyn during a strategic planning session. "Let's create partnerships with international organizations. We can establish a global network to handle cases of cross-border missing children." Evelyn nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "It's ambitious," she said, "but if anyone can make it happen, it's us." Within months, the team launched the Global Family Network, a groundbreaking collaboration with agencies across Europe, Asia, and South America. The initiative included real-time data sharing, advanced tracking systems, and community outreach programs designed to prevent abductions before they occurred. At the launch event, Evelyn and Samuel addressed a packed auditorium. "This is more than a network," Evelyn said. "It's a lifeline for families around the world." Samuel added, "No child should ever feel abandoned. No parent should ever lose hope. Together, we can protect the most vulnerable among us." The Global Family Network quickly became a beacon of hope worldwide. Within a year of its launch, it had facilitated the recovery of more than 150 missing children across continents. The stories of reunited families, shared on social media and news outlets, highlighted the transformative impact of Evelyn and Samuel's vision. Yet, with success came greater responsibility. Evelyn and Samuel worked tirelessly, often late into the night, fine-tuning operations and addressing challenges. Evelyn looked up from her desk one evening as they reviewed the latest progress report. "Samuel," she said, her voice softer than usual, "you've grown into an extraordinary leader. Watching you take charge, knowing that you've turned your pain into purpose, fills me with pride." Samuel smiled, his expression touched by her words. "I couldn't have done it without you," he replied. "You've shown me what resilience looks like. Now it's my turn to carry that forward." Despite the overwhelming demands of the initiative, Evelyn found moments of quiet reflection. One such moment came during a gala to celebrate the network's achievements. As the evening progressed, Evelyn took the stage to address an audience of supporters, partners, and beneficiaries. "In our darkest moments," she began, her voice resonating through the hall, "we often feel alone, as though hope is a luxury we cannot afford. But the stories we've heard tonight remind us that hope is not just a feeling, it's an action. It's the determination to fight for what matters, to keep searching, and to believe in brighter tomorrows. The audience erupted in applause. Many were moved to tears. Among them were families the initiative had helped, their presence a testament to the program's success. Later that night, Samuel joined Evelyn on the balcony overlooking the city. "Do you ever think about the legacy we're leaving?" he asked, gazing at the twinkling lights below. Evelyn nodded. "Every day. But a legacy isn't about what we leave behind. It's about how we make people feel. If we've given even one family hope, we've succeeded." As the years passed, Evelyn began to prepare for her next chapter. Hartfield Technologies was thriving, and the global family network had cemented itself as a cornerstone of humanitarian efforts. However, Evelyn knew her role in both organizations would eventually need to evolve. During a board meeting, Evelyn decided to step back from daily operations. "It's time for new leadership to take us into the future," she said, her voice steady despite the emotion behind her words. "And there's no one more capable than Samuel to guide us." The room erupted in applause, a standing ovation for Evelyn's years of service and her faith in Samuel's abilities. For Samuel, the moment was an honor and a responsibility he did not take lightly. "I promise to uphold everything we've built together," he said, addressing the board, "and to continue leading with the integrity and vision Evelyn has always exemplified." With the transition in motion, Evelyn focused her energy on the foundation. She began spearheading educational campaigns, speaking at conferences, and mentoring young leaders passionate about humanitarian work. The foundation's reach expanded into underserved regions, bringing resources and training to communities most at risk of child disappearances. Evelyn and Samuel's journey was not without its emotional milestones. One such moment came when they visited the small town where Samuel had been found as a child. Walking through the town square, Samuel was struck by the kindness of the locals who had cared for him during his brief time there. Evelyn, too, was deeply moved by their stories. They met an older woman at a community center who had been instrumental in Samuel's care. "I always knew you'd grow up to do something special," she told him, tears glistening. "And I'm so proud to see the man you've become." The visit brought a sense of closure to both Samuel and Evelyn. They returned home with a renewed commitment to their work, knowing their story was part of a much larger narrative of resilience, love, and hope. As Evelyn settled into her new role as a mentor and advocate, she felt a profound sense of peace. Her life had come full circle, from the anguish of losing her son to the joy of finding him and building something meaningful together. Samuel, now the CEO of Hartfield Technologies, continued to lead with innovation and compassion. Under his leadership, the global family network expanded its technological capabilities, introducing groundbreaking tools to prevent child disappearances and support at-risk families. One evening, Samuel turned to her as they sat in Evelyn's garden, watching the fireflies dance in the twilight. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Evelyn smiled, her eyes glistening. "Every day. And I know the best is yet to come." As they sat together, the legacy they had built stood as a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of family, and the impact of hope. Theirs was a story that inspired others to believe that night could always be found no matter how dark the path. As Hartfield Technologies entered its third decade, it became a global innovation and humanitarian impact leader. The Global Family Network aided thousands of families and revolutionized child safety measures worldwide. Now mainly working behind the scenes, Evelyn saw her vision flourishing under Samuel's leadership. One afternoon, Samuel called Evelyn to his office. The once bright-eyed young man who had walked into her interview room years ago now exuded a commanding presence. Yet, when she entered, his face was lit with boyish excitement. "I have something I want to show you," Samuel said, gesturing to the large screen on the wall. With a click, a video began to play, a montage of testimonials from families who the Global Family Network had helped. Each story was more heartwarming than the last. A father embracing his daughter after months apart, a mother in tears thanking the initiative for bringing her son home, and even a young child declaring, "Hartfield saved my family." When the video ended, Samuel turned to Evelyn, his voice filled with emotion. "This is what we've built together. But none of it would have been possible without you. Evelyn felt a lump rise in her throat. She had spent years pouring her soul into Hartfield Technologies and the Foundation, but hearing those words from Samuel made her efforts feel complete. "You've taken it further than I ever could," she said. "And that's how I know I made the right decision passing the torch to you." Samuel smiled, but his expression turned serious. "I've been thinking about the future," he said. "Not just for the company, but for you. You've done so much for all of us. Maybe it's time for you to rest, and enjoy everything you've worked so hard to create." Evelyn laughed softly, her eyes twinkling. "You make it sound like I'm ready for a rocking chair," she teased. "But you're right. It's time to let go of the day-to-day. I trust you to lead us into the future." To mark the transition, Hartfield Technologies announced a special gala to honor Evelyn's contributions and officially recognize Samuel as the guiding force behind its next chapter. The event, held in a grand hall filled with industry leaders, family beneficiaries, and loyal employees, celebrated resilience, innovation, and hope. When Evelyn took the stage, the applause was deafening. "Tonight isn't about endings," she said, her voice steady but brimming with emotion. "It's about beginnings, about the lives we've touched and the infinite possibilities that still lie ahead. Samuel, my son, you are my greatest achievement. Lead with compassion and vision, and this legacy will grow stronger." Samuel joined her on stage, and together, they lit a symbolic beacon, signifying the leadership transition. The crowd erupted in applause, marking one era's end and another's dawn. In the months following the gala, Evelyn embraced her retirement gracefully, though retirement was far from idle. She traveled to underserved communities, meeting with local leaders and helping them implement child safety programs inspired by the Global Family Network. She also began writing her memoir, a deeply personal account of her journey through loss, rediscovery, and triumph. Samuel, meanwhile, continued to expand the Foundation's reach. His vision for a global resilience program took shape. This comprehensive initiative not only focused on reuniting families, but also worked to prevent tragedies through education, community engagement, and cutting-edge technology. "It's not just about finding the lost," he often said. "It's about building a world where fewer people go missing in the first place." One day, as Evelyn was tending to her garden, she received a call from Samuel. "Mom," he said, his voice filled with excitement, "I need you to come to the office tomorrow. We've made a breakthrough." The next day, Evelyn arrived at Hartfield Technologies to find Samuel with a team of researchers waiting for her. "We've developed a predictive analytics system," he explained, leading her into a state-of-the-art lab. "It uses AI to analyze patterns and predict potential abduction hotspots before they happen. With this, we can work with local authorities to prevent incidents entirely." Evelyn felt a swell of pride. "This is incredible," she said. "You've turned our mission into something truly revolutionary." The Hartfield Horizon program became the cornerstone of the Foundation's efforts, reducing child disappearances by an unprecedented 40% in its first year. The success of Hartfield Horizon cemented Samuel's legacy as a visionary leader and ensured that the Foundation's impact would endure for generations. Years later, Evelyn sat on the porch of her countryside home, the golden light of dusk casting a warm glow over the landscape. Samuel joined her, bringing 2 cups of tea. "The world feels different now," he said, his tone contemplative. "Better, safer, and it's all because of you." Evelyn smiled, her heart full. "No, Samuel, it's because of us. We turned it into something meaningful because we didn't let the pain define us." As they sat together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Evelyn felt a deep sense of peace. The journey had been long and often painful, but it had brought her to this moment of quiet satisfaction, surrounded by love and the enduring legacy she had built with her son. Their story wasn't just one of loss and redemption. It was a testament to the power of resilience, family strength, and hope's boundless potential. And through the sunset on that day, the legacy of Evelyn and Samuel Hartfield continued to shine brightly, illuminating lives across the globe.